see rain.
What's up, my brother?
Yo, what up?
Nothing much, man. Just trying to get well.
The man from Texas is on the mend, man. You got a lot of people want you back, man. We want Armon back.
I know, brother. Yeah, it's rough. You know, I got the PICC line in my arm, and hopefully only have it for a couple more weeks, and then they'll take it out. They'll do some reimaging. You know, this happened to Ronnie, happened to Victor, happened to me. We all did stem cell, King.
I'm telling you. I made some phone calls, bro. I made some phone calls to some top-notch minds in this country. I mean, I know a lot of smart dudes. Yeah. And I asked them, I'm like, could that be the reason? And they, all of them, every single one of them, you know, said, absolutely, that could be the reason.
Yeah, it could have changed our immune system in a certain way. I mean, I was completely healthy. Nothing was out of the ordinary. My family wasn't sick. I just started feeling ill one day, like the Olympia weekend. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, what's going on? My knee's swelling up. This, and then with my knee, it's they had to open it up, slice it open. All this pus just poured out. They had to go in there and spray and clean all in the cartilage and the bone, ligaments, and that could have damaged the structure. And you know, it's like what damage did it do? Am I going to have a knee replacement in a couple of years? You know, it sucks. But
the way you explain it, it sounds like, you know, you watch those YouTube videos when they clean a horse's or cow's hoof that's been infected with maggots and stuff.
Yeah.
And they go in there and they clean it all out and pour that green stuff in there. That's what it sounds like to me.
That's basically what they did. And my knee feels like there's a center block in there. Like how I'm walking and stuff. And you know, it's been a hard road. It's been depressing, but it's humbled me to, you know, when I get back to the gym, I'm going to really appreciate just the simple things in life. Just being able to go to the gym. I haven't been able to go to my son's soccer practices or take him or anything like that. It's been hard. And so I'm really looking forward to just getting back to that. But let's talk about, you know, off season and bulking and getting big. You know, back then you were competing even when I started competing. The whole deal was in the off season, you blow up,
puff up,
you know, puff up, get puffy, get that round, puff face, that moon face.
Yeah,
you know, most people would take off their cycles after the shows and clean out 3 months. Usually, most people call 3 months. That's what Ronnie did too. Ronnie didn't even work out. Did you work? You worked out. You would work out, King, still.
It depended. When I was at the national level in the NPC, I immediately got back. I didn't take any time off because I was young, man.
Yeah.
You know, I immediately got back, and as a matter of fact, even before I went to compete, I would order all my off-season supplements. Now, when I say supplements, I'm not talking about gear. I'm talking about like the weight gainers and the aminos and the creatine, because I was like, the day I'm back in there again. You know. And it was when I turned professional and I started working with Chad, that's when he started to say, no, I want you to take 2 months off. I want you to do a PCT. I want you to do this. I wanted you to do that. So it was, you know what? That's what we called it. We called it puffing up. You know, it's time to puff up. And you don't see that anymore. And as a matter of fact, if you look at all the podcasts, Cutler just did one with Lee Priest. And they said the same thing. Same exact thing. You know, we used to puff up. We used to just relax and chill. And now it's full TRT all the time.
Well, TRT is testosterone and primo and anavar
Yeah,
and
we should call it GRT.
can I use
Gear
a
replacement
GH? And
therapy.
now what they do is afterwards, and I can see in some instances that it can help. That after the show they take advantage of that rebound. That rebound can happen just from food, but they push the gear too. Listen, you already stressed your body out 16 weeks of hardcore training, dieting, gear. That it's time to give it a break, and they push the gear after that too. King, who's that? Was that Iraqi bodybuilder? Another one just died.
Yeah, Iranian guy. He was actually one of it. There's a lot of controversy going on with that too. Apparently, he knew, his coach knew, everyone knew, the team, the national team members knew that he had heart issues. He had heart issues leading up in the past few years, and they scratched his name because they thought that he was going to keel over. And guess what? He did.
He has heart issues, and he's just like, okay, I'm still going to do this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, bro. A lot of people always come down and start talking shit, especially to things that we've done, and they always say, well, you did the same thing. Yeah, I admit it. I'll be the first person to put my hand up and say there was a time where I didn't want to know what was wrong with me.
Right.
I don't want blood work. Get out of here. I'm Superman. You're Superman.
Yeah.
You get to a point where it's my theory, and my theory is this. The dumber you are, the more success you'll get in bodybuilding at the beginning. At the beginning, you'll explode because you don't want to know. You're stupid.
Ignorance bliss, yeah.
The more educated you become, the more it holds you back in the sport.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer in that. I never pushed the gear to those limits because I was talking to Chad. I was talking to people that said to me, like, this is what Ronnie's doing. I'm like, okay, if that's what Coleman's doing, if this is what Cormier's doing, if this is what Paul Dillette's doing, these guys are Hall of Famers, that's what I'm going to do. And they never pushed it to those limits. They never did. Yeah. Ronnie's not Ronnie's not lying when he says he never did that much. I know for a fact because his coach was my coach.
Yeah.
We never did it that much.
There was a time when Chad pushed certain guys to a different level. I mean, after
the stint of with the originals, yes, when the originals were gone, and I would consider myself one of the originals too because I came right at the end. It was he had Flex, Kevin, Paul, Nasser, Ronnie, and then at the end I approached him. I said, "Hey, can I be part of the team?" He said, "Sure," and I jumped in at the very end, but. Those guys never did it, and towards the end, you got to make that decision, Armon. You're an OG, you got to make that decision. Okay, I'm 45 years old. Should I push it? Or I'm 40 years. Let's say I'm 42 years old. Do I drop the hammer again and take it to the next phase? Or do I want to be around for my son, for my daughter, and for myself? You got to make that decision.
I was talking to my friend the other day. I prepped him for his only show he ever did. He's had, seven other coaches besides me. Now he's with Chad, and he's calling me. He's like, he should be around probably like 230. And he's 290. Send me a picture. Fat, and he's like asking me all these questions. I'm like, why don't you ask Chad? His blood pressure's high. His red blood counts through the roof. His blood pressure's all a mess. Lipids and this and this and this. I'm like, why is Chad having you do all this stuff? Why aren't you asking him? He's like, well, you're my brother. You really care about my health. I'm like, so Chad just gives you a plan now. You just follow it, and you're unhealthy. Are you not giving him feedback? And are you scared to give him feedback because you think he's going to be like, okay, let's step it back a notch. Let's not. And people always think. Well, a lot of people think it's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to get sick. That happens to other people. I'm not going to die. I'm going to be okay. I don't know, and I don't care. I'm just going to keep going. And that whole mentality that I don't want to know, I don't care. those people believe that they're okay because it's a tunnel vision. I'm just competing. That's all there is to life, and it's not. And me and you were both the same when we were competing, even though you were at a much higher level. I didn't hang out with bodybuilders. I hung out with musicians, all different types. I don't want to talk about the gym and eating chicken when I'm going out clubbing or how much weight you lifting and all like that. That was so boring to me, King. And people would, all these bodybuilders, hang out with each other and they would talk about when are you competing next? Oh yeah, what are you taking? Yeah, oh man, that was so boring.
And let's clarify something right now before we get shit for it. We're
Right.
not saying that Chad Nichols is hurting people. That's not what Armon said right now. Armon just said, if you have issues to his friend,
right?
He was like, if you have issues, why don't you tell Chad? Because I'll tell you right now, there's no chance in hell Chad would ever hurt somebody on purpose. Yeah. It's not going to happen. That's not Chad Nichols. He would never do that. He's like my older brother. Kim is like my older sister, and I love them. I know for a fact he never put a gun to my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said,
this is what I think you should do. This is the protocol that the top guys are doing right now. And you decide what you want to do. That was my relationship with Chad. Now, on a different note, yes, again, because this is the Iron OGs and we don't fucking blow smoke up your asses out there. We tell you the truth. Yes, there was a point. I remember when we were tested one year at 2001 for the Mr. Olympia, they tested us. And what we had to do is after prejudging, not before, after prejudging, we all had to line up and pee just like you would see in football and the NCAA. And they'd sit there and watch you when your dick is out, watch you pee. Okay, that's fine. I don't care about that. I stood there for 15 minutes. Nothing came out. Nothing. And it was me and Marcus Rule. I mean, we're just standing there, and I was like, ain't coming. The guy's like, something's got to come out. We need it. We need a sample. So I stood there for 15 minutes.
This was before the show, King. This was before the show?
No, this was after prejudging.
After prejudging.
Right after prejudging. Right. So we're back there. So I'm just sitting there. And you know what? The consistency of honey came out of me.
Yeah, you told me.
Out of my pecker. And I handed it to him. And he goes, "What the hell is that?" I said, "That's what came out." And that was the first time that I actually said to myself, maybe I should go get checked out. Yeah. So, when you deal with someone like Chad Nichols, he never, ever panics. That's not his personality. He never sits there and freaks out. That's not his personality. He just very calmly says, okay, go get blood work done. Here's what you need to get a full metabolic comprehensive metabolic panel. You also need to check your T3, your test, this and that. He sent me a chart and I went, and there was some things were wacky, but I fixed it.
Right.
That's how you do it.
I know you've dealt with clients, and I deal with clients too. They come to you and their blood work's not good, and you're telling them what they need to do, and then we don't work together because they don't want to listen. They want to keep pushing it. They don't want to take off. They're like, well, I'm going to get smaller. I'm going to get this. I'm like, yeah, you're going to get smaller for a brief period, but in the long run, you're going to last much longer. King, we talked about the previous week about the look everybody's getting, the Down syndrome look where everything's just coming together.
The
guy, the guys, they're doing the pins. They, you usually get 36 IU pins. Pop 3 of those a day. That's almost 100. That's like 100 IUs of GH a day. And then you have to do insulin with that so you don't become diabetic. So they're doing 100 to 200 IUs. So they're usually doing like a long-lasting one, like a Lantus, and then Humalog with every meal. I don't know when you did any insulin, you would usually probably Humalog, right?
Well, we started out with R.
And
then when Humalog came out, we switched over to Humalog.
Okay, yeah.
The most I ever listen.
10,
we never did insulin in the off. When I was with Amin at the very beginning, when I was still in the NPC in the off season, yes, twice, maybe 3 times a week, we would do the R. But when I hooked up with Chad and I became a professional, we never touched it until 3 days before a show. 3 days before a show, that's what we used. We used Humalog to load up. That's it. I never did that stuff in the off season. It just, for me, it was a food issue. And then once I got to a point where I was like, okay, I got to get bigger and bigger and bigger. For me, it was more food than anything else. It was all about the food.
Pig, when you were doing all the food, was Chad telling you to eat all that food, or did you go a little beyond that and say, hey, I want to grow extra, I'm going to eat more?
That's a great question, and this is something that a lot of people out there always ask. It has to do with your appetite. That's it. It comes down to that, because I went to Hawaii with Nasser, and we guest posted in 2000, and we were there for a week. I spent 1 week with Nasser, one of the biggest, freakiest bodybuilders of all time. He hardly ate. I was astonished, and I was like, and I was the young buck, and he was like my mentor, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna show him. And every 2 hours, here I am. Here's the crazy part. I was eating a meal, and with that meal, I would drink a meal replacement shake. So I had all these packets of Dorian Yates approved. Remember Dorian Yates approved? Those blue packets. So I would eat a meal and immediately right there, pour that thing, rip it open, pour it in a shaker bottle, and drink. And Nasser would look at me and say, I've never seen anything like this in my life. How can you do? I'm like, I'm used to it. And it was because of Chad that he's like, listen, it's a psychological thing. When I first approached him to help me, I had just received seventh place in the heavyweights at the Nationals. And at that time, my girlfriend said, hey, there's Chad, go talk to him. Yeah. And you know the story. I've said it 1,000 times. He said, show up at the Arnold in 6 months at 300 pounds and we'll talk. I showed up at 308 pounds. And I was wearing white spandex and a white tank top. And that's when everybody called me the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man. Yeah. Because I did look like the Stay Puffed Marshmallow. And he goes, I remember Kim laughing, and she goes, he's nuts. He did it. And I was like, yeah, 308. And he goes, all right. So we start working together. But the way I did it was not through massive amounts of insulin, massive amounts. I did it through food. Just eating every 2 hours, eating.
Do you think all the food, that excess food, hurts your physique or helps your physique?
Yes, it did.
Which one?
Absolutely. This the Iron OGs, man. We don't lie. Yeah.
Hurt it or helped it? Hurt it.
No, it hurt it. It hurt it because it distended my stomach. It made my stomach come out. Made my waist a little bit wide. Now, if looking back now, hindsight is 2020. If I could go and talk to myself back then, I would have said, you know what? Stop with the massive amounts of food. Concentrate more on quality and start doing vacuum work. Make sure you control your stomach in the off season. These types of things I would have done. But I was just thinking mass size. Yeah.
Let me answer this question. I was on pain meds for a week. They wrote me a week worth of pain meds. A week when they should have wrote me 3 weeks. I was suffering. I was literally in tears every night because the doctor they don't overwrite pain meds anymore. They don't do that. They rather have you suffer because they think you're going to get addicted and all that. But what people do, they go to the street and get fent and all this other garbage off the street. I took pain meds for a week. That's it. And then after that week, I was in agony. So enough with the pain med stuff, guys. I'm very transparent on here. I help people out all the time.
Look at your eyes, man. Look at your eyes. Your eyes tell the whole story right now. You're not on pain meds. I can tell.
No, I'm tired, but yeah. I mean, when I do that, it's pretty gross. But like, here's the pick line on my arm. Yeah, I know. When I do the antibiotics tonight, it looks like a little grenade and it's the antibiotics in there. And when I do that and it's going in me, it's like I'm like this. The antibiotics are so strong, you just feel the life being sucked out of you. And I see the doctor every week, the infectious disease doctor. And let me tell you something. When I see the people in there, it breaks my heart to see people in there. They come in there, their arms amputated, their foot's amputated. They're missing limbs, they're missing things off their face. And I asked the doctor, I'm like, when people have all these infectious diseases, how easy it is to get these diseases. And he's like, it is simple as you shave your face or body, you have some little micro cuts. You sit on a couch, you're on a gym, it's dirty. That bacteria gets in your skin, goes through your blood, your immune system, depending on how strong it is, and you got a disease, like an infectious disease. And so it's very common, and it's heartbreaking to see. And I'm like, so how do you how do you protect yourself? And he's like, well, especially with gym goers, like, you know, when I would go to certain gyms, especially Metroplex Arlington, you know, I love Brian, but, you know, the pads would be ripped open and there would be, you know, just like the pads ripped open. So that the padding's in there, everybody's sweat, just all, and you're putting your head on that. You know, I remember the destination in Dallas. Me and my client, we were doing one day, and I had a towel and I was putting it down, vertical leg press, and he put his neck down on there, and he got some sort of infection on his neck where he got all these boils on there. When you go to these gym guys, bring a towel, wash the machines. We talk about it a lot. I don't know if we talk about it a lot, but we have before. People's hygiene is gross.
Oh, absolutely.
People, you know, I shower twice a day. I know your hygiene's really good too. We take care of our skin and everything. People don't do that. People don't hardly brush. I mean, I had a guy I used to grow up with named John. I was like, man, I'm not trying to be mean, but your breath, it smells so bad. Like, what's going on? He goes, I just forget to brush my teeth. I go, what do you mean you forget to brush your teeth? And they had to go to the dentist. He had so much plaque buildup. It was all in there. They had to put him to sleep and go under his gums and clean it all out. It's incredible how poor some people's hygiene is. It's really strange. And
I totally completely agree with you. And that's, if we're talking about pet peeves, people out there watching us about the Iron OGs, you want to know something about King Kamali? I'll tell you right now, my pet peeve is smell.
Yeah.
Okay. If you smell in the gym, I'll tell you. I'll go right up to you and be like, you got to get out of here, man. You got to go do something about it. I've done it before. I've done it 3 times before. One of them was a good friend of mine, and I actually took him to CVS, bought him deodorant, soap, and deodorant, and he looked at me. He goes, I smell? I'm like, yeah, you do. Okay? And guess what? People say that's mean. No, he never smelled after that. It was fixed.
Yeah.
He didn't have to. I fixed it by telling him the truth. So, yeah, for me, smell. Absolutely.
If you're a friend, you need to tell a person. This page said, in your case, wouldn't the kratom help you out? But no, kratom is just replacing the pain meds with another thing you're addicted to. Kratom does the same thing. It gets on the opiate receptors. It does the same thing. Well, this guy sends all kind of stupid messages because I remember the Smoke Dog name. Bro, come on. You were completely spun out last week episode. Be honest. You're sober here, but last week you were drooped eyeballs, slurring your words, and scratches yourself. Okay, Smoke Dog, how unintelligent you are. I'm about to block you because you send stupid messages all the time. I almost died from a blood infection. I lost 40 pounds. I'm in bed. I have to walk upstairs to do this. I have to crawl upstairs because my knee's not even working. These people sit at home and they send these dumbass messages, not even understand what people go through. One more message, Smoke Dog, I'm blocking you, and you're an idiot. Say the stupidest stuff. And I've been so transparent about my journey with the pain meds. I was scared to take the pain meds, King, because I haven't taken pain meds in 4 years.
I bet.
But I mean, I had to have them. I mean, I was in, and then they didn't even give me that much. It was barely any at all, like a week.
We spoke many times, and you sounded like you were dying.
Yeah. And, at night, my wife would I would be like, because I was in so much pain, and it is what it is. I went through it.
Forget that. Forget that.
When I got out of the hospital, King, this part over here that my hair was black, it was gray. Within a 2-week period of time, it turned gray.
Wow.
Just from my body being so stressed out.
That stress will kill you.
I have gray hair. In 2 weeks, it turned gray.
Yeah, it'll happen. Or it'll become a patch. The hair will start to disappear.
But Smoke Dog, I mean, listen here. We're the most honest, transparent people out there. We talk about stuff people don't talk about. This guy's a weirdo. He's asked a bunch of dumb questions and said it before. One more question, you're blocked, dude. I don't know what your problem is, or you're unhappy with your life.
Let's just get to the subject. Don't sweat.
Idiot.
So how to get
idiot.
So the kids want to know how to get big. Okay, so
here's my client. I saw him on a person last week. He could barely even keep his eyes open from being so sick. It's not opiates. I'm a nurse. Anyone battling infection. This is one of my good clients. He's a nurse. He came over last week. We're prepping for a show, and he knows, all about my journey and everything. Yeah, the guys getting staff in the gym. A lot of the fighters, King, too. The mats are really gross. You got to really, really watch out.
Bro, I saw a video of Khabib and Islam training in Dagestan, and at the end of the day, there's a pool where they slide across and there people sweat. I almost threw up when I saw that, man. That's disgusting. That's
I could never.
That's like jackass Steve-O disgusting, man. I can't do that.
I could never get in wrestling in high school. I wanted to. A lot of my friends would do it. I'm like, it's so gross to me. You're so sweaty. You're rolling around on a mat with another guy all sweaty. No thanks. But back to the off-season stuff. When I was competing, I got signed with a model agency when I was 23 up in New York. And what they kept having me do in the off-season, I would compete, and then they're like, we want you to get down to 190. And I would get down to I'd get down to 210. That's the only weight I could get down to. And I would do shoots, and those shoots would pay like 3 to 4 times more than Muscle Max shoes. The Muscle Max shoes, I don't know what they paid you, King, your contract. They usually pay about 100 to 200 an hour. You do like 8-hour shoot. You could do, I would usually stay at Cali and do shoots every single day or a couple of days for weeks and make some good money. But the modeling shoots, I wasn't into trying to have that like, oh, sexy look at all that. I didn't like all that stuff, but it made really good money. And they used to sell these copy books in Europe, and they would sell our pictures in, and we made a killing from them. And so in the off season after a show, I would purposely burn off muscle. I'd get off all my gear, and I would only eat like protein and maybe a little fruit and not much else. And I would purposely lose slides. Was it hurting my bodybuilding? Yes. And when I met Hani, I was telling Hani about this. He's like, listen, brother, you could be a really, really great bodybuilder, but you got to pick one thing or the other. You can't go back and forth between this. What do you love? Like, I love bodybuilding. He goes, okay, the modeling stuff, you had your little run with that. You're not going to be, I remember Armani, they liked my look, and they told my agency, like, hey, we like his look. But I was 210 at the time, and I did a shoot with Rick Day. Rick Day is a great photographer. He got a lot of trouble for doing a lot of weird stuff with guys and, advancing on them. But he tried that with me. He's like, oh, I love Persian men, and I can fluff you up. I'm like, dude, Rick, don't play that with me. That's not going to happen. But it just wasn't my thing. But so I started. That was the first time, and I told Hani. And I was on certain medications like finasteride that was blocking my gains. And he was like, you got to go off A, B, and C. And Hani didn't do anything special like miraculous for me. He just told me like, hey, you want to get big, you got to do this. So I started eating in the off season. I got off certain prescriptions, and I blew up that year. I remember I was that off season that year, I was like 284, but it was the first time I took IGF-2. But I had abs, I had veins. I was so full. That's the first time I couldn't put on my shoes. My girlfriend had to put on my shoes at the time. And I'll be honest with you. I did not like the feeling. And when the judges were telling me like, yeah, you look great, you just got to keep getting bigger and bigger. I was like, man, I don't want to get bigger than this. I really don't want to. And then my injuries happened, and I think it all happened for a reason. But I think, King, at your level, was there ever a time you're like, man, I'm so big, I can't do certain things. What am I doing with myself? How much bigger do I need to get? Were you ever like, when's big enough?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, I was one of the first of the 300-pound monsters. So getting past 300 pounds now, people are like, it's not that impressive. It's still impressive, but people are going, Jesus Christ, wow. Back then it was. To be a 300-pound guy and have some little bit of an outline of abs was insane. But I didn't like it either. I didn't like being in the shower and having to take a second to catch my breath while I'm cleaning myself, tying my shoes, exactly like you said. A lot of the things, putting my belt on before squats, having someone help me put my belt on before squats and stuff like that. Yeah, I went through all that stuff. But I always thought about it, and I also said to myself, it's bodybuilding. It's bodybuilding. This is what we have to do. This is the sport that I chose. And, it was kind of fun to walk around and have people just like, oh, holy shit, that holy shit look that people used to give you and blah, 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 blah. Yes, it was fun to a certain degree, but I've said this once and I've said it before. Once I turned professional and it became a business, it became a job, the love kind of faded away a little bit.
Yeah. My favorite look, it was when you turned pro, and it was and then it was the Iron Man. That was my favorite looks you had. Those
Yeah,
are
those 242 pounds at the Ironman. 2 weeks later, I was 248. We filled out a little bit more for the Arnold, and that's where I beat Dexter. And then for the Olympia, it was 252. 252 for the Olympia at my first Olympia. If I would have stayed, listen, again, I'll never say any excuses or anything like that. For me, it was more about my life outside of the gym that affected my stuff inside of the gym. If I would have stayed in Virginia, and if I would have stayed with my gym, my family, my friends, my dog, and I wouldn't have gotten married and moved to New York, things would have been different. A whole lot different when it comes to bodybuilding. Do I regret it right now? No, because I have Johnny, I have Rio, I have my memories, I have everything. I got a $1.2 million house. I got all those things. Fine, I'm loving it. Whatever. It is what it is. But that lifestyle, the lifestyle is something else. You cannot have a normal girlfriend or a normal wife and progress. That your significant other has to be in the sport. It's the only way it works, man. It's the only way it works.
And then guys today competing, I think there's a point where, you've got your people. Appreciate that guy. Appreciate that, brother. You've got your guys that, you got to push the protein a lot, but once you get to a certain time, even Dexter and a lot of the guys, I know George was doing it with a lot of his clients. He was moving the protein down from like 10 to 12 to 15 ounces of protein a day, or a protein a meal, to 5 to 6 ounces. And it worked for them. They just did more healthy fats. And they learned, like, listen, you're already big. You don't need to get bigger. You just need to refine what you have and make it better. So we don't need to push the food as much anymore. And I think that's what a lot of these people learn now is they're not, you see a lot of these people in the off season now, they stay in shape year round. Granted, they are pushing the drugs year round too. And that's why we've seen so many deaths. It's not because of some miraculous thing we don't know about, is people do not come off after a show. Certain clients have like, okay, what do you mean come off everything? I'm like, yeah, you can stay on like a little TRT if your test gets too low. Because I remember my test would stay about 300 or 400, but once it dropped to 11, I started staying on TRT. But listen, when you get done with your show, you've got all this stuff in your system. It's going to be about a month before that stuff's even out. Not on a drug test, but out where you're feeling it like, man, I'm out. I need to kind of maybe get on a little testosterone. People freak out. They've got to be on something, injecting something all the time, and it's a mental thing. And we always see guys that aren't in the top. They can't fathom a lot of the guys in the top do, but a lot of the guys, they don't take what people think they take.
Right.
And you got these guys in the gym pushing grams and grams of gear. Listen, we've seen guys all the time. They jump on a ball of testosterone, and another one will jump on everything there is under the kitchen sink, and nothing happens with their body. People respond differently to gear, King. Your first cycle, you blew up. My first cycle, I blew up. Some people are natural, and you're like, man, when they get on gear, they're going to look crazy. And they get on gear, and they don't look that much different.
Yeah.
It's all about how your body responds.
What you just said right now is the key. And people don't like to hear that. I just had a conversation with a couple of people who contacted me, had the same exact conversation. It's a genetic thing. You cannot, it's the most powerful force in the world, and you cannot manipulate it. They're trying to. Science is getting in there and trying to do what they can with it. But what Armon just said to you kids out there, just listen to what he just said. And you're talking to us right now. We're not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to bullshit you. He's not going to bullshit you. I did 30 tabs of Anadrol, Syntex Anadrol. I gained 72 pounds off of that first cycle. I had lightning bolts going all across my quads. Everyone thought I had something happened to me. It was insane. That's when Jimmy, my first coach, my mentor, rest in peace, he came to me and said, okay, now we got something. That was when John Perillo saw me before and after. He goes, what the fuck? That's when I started to realize, okay, maybe I got a little something here. That's when Amin came to me and said, you don't even know what you got. You don't have no idea what you're capable of. That's why to this day, Amin, God bless his soul, I hope everything works out for him. Same thing. He always tells people, no, you don't know. Don't say anything bad about King. You have no idea. He exploded off of this much. Exploded. So when I hear or when I see and people send me their protocols now, I'm thinking to myself, it's either fake, okay, or something's gone really bad and you have terrible genetics, bro.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this before.
It's 100% what you just said. A lot of time King is fake because I have people order the Roy tests and I'm like, dude, all your stuff's fake except testosterone. That's not we're getting the look we want. They're like, what do I do? Where do I get it from? I'm like, dude, it's like the wild, wild west out there now. Unfortunately, it's not how it used to be. I was in Texas, so we had Mexico. We got all our great gear from. It's not like how it used to be in a certain period where you knew where you're getting your stuff from. And people think a lot of these top pros now have the best connects in the world and all that. No, they don't. I talk to them. They're taking stuff. They're buying stuff for $20 a bottle. People are making in their kitchen. And they don't even know. They're not even people don't understand a lot of these top pros now. And I'm going to say a large percentage of them, they have no clue what they're doing, King. Yeah, they just have a coach. And that's why they coach hop so often, because they think there's some formula out there that this coach has over this coach. You need to pick somebody that has your best interest, that is going to have your back, but you got to listen to that person. You can't get a program from them and then go ask 5 other people, hey, what do you think about this? That's how you fail in bodybuilding. Yes. You're going to fail in bodybuilding.
And speaking of program, so let's get into let's keep moving with this. Listen up, you people out there. You don't just come to me or come to Armon for contest prep. You come to us in the off season. The smart ones do that. I'm starting to notice now. I'm starting to get emails, people and saying, hey, yo, man, I need you for off season. Okay, now it's starting to seep into their brains. That's when you're under construction in the off season. Prep is prep. Leaning, suffering, dieting, getting that's prep. And most coaches earn their paychecks the last 2 weeks. Yeah. When they really dial you in, and a good coach knows how to dial every individual in their own specific way. It's the journey that you learn. Okay, see, this is something you guys have to understand. You can't come to me and call me up and say, hey man, my show's in 2 weeks. I want to hire you to dial me in. It doesn't work like that. I don't know your body. I don't know what works. I don't know what pathways to take. I don't know anything. We got to work together for 4 months for me to figure that out. But to even better make that even a more complete puzzle, you come in the off season. Stop complaining about the money. Okay. I charge nickels and dimes compared to some of these idiots out there charge, because I care about my clients. Armon is the same exact way.
But King, they'll complain about the money, but then they'll like, hey, how much gear do I need to take? The money for what they spend on gear.
I've had people who they'll ask me. I'm not going to mention their names because if I ever saw them, I would be like smack them in the back of the head as hard as I can. They'll call me up and they'll contact me, and they've known me for years. Are you still charging the same? I'm like, yeah, I'm still charging the same. It hasn't changed. Whether you're a professional athlete or you're a high school girl getting ready for lacrosse, it's the same. Right. They're like, okay, all right, man, I'm going to start in 2 weeks, this and that. And then I checked their Instagram, and they went and they bought the underground supplements. I'm not saying supplements. I'm talking about protein and creatine and all this stuff. They spend $500-600, and then they contact them when you text them and say, okay, you ready to start? No, man, money's tight. Then I say to myself, you got to be kidding me. You just went and spent. I could have completely changed your life.
Yeah.
I could have structured everything for you. I keep in touch with my clients on a daily basis, and you went and you bought underground protein and creatine and whatever the hell, pump products.
Walmart for these big bags.
I can't. And it's over and over again. The stupidity is off the charts.
Yeah. And going back to what you said, King, about the shows coming to you, you have those people that come to you every time they want to compete, and you're like, listen, you look the same every show because why? You're not doing an off season. And listen, I think off season is a lot harder than competing, because in off season, you don't have something you're locked in on. It's like, okay, this show is in like 6 months or a year. So every meal matters. Every training session matters. You know how many guys I get that or people I get? I'm like, listen, are you doing A, B, and C? I'm like, no. I'm like, you had all these other coaches. They never told you to do that. They're like, no. I'm like, you paid this coach $5,000 or $6,000, like some of these big names like Aceto, and they never told you to do the most simple things, like get massage therapy done, make sure you're posing daily, foam roll your body. They're like, no, they didn't tell me any of that stuff. I'm like it's just, you know, the value we give people is just so over the top, and we never were those people that were like, I was listening to Hani talk earlier, Patrick Tour. And Hani was like, yeah, what's your best client? Like, Hani would handpick only people that were going to be the most elite. Like, when I was with Hani, he told me, listen, I think you could be one of the top 10. I had my friend try to come to him. He's like, his physique don't look right. I'm like, so you're not going to take him on? He's like, no. I was like, you're not going to take him on because you don't think you can make him a top pro. I'm like, that's not right. That what kind of coach are you? That doesn't mean you're a great coach. That means you're taking people, cherry picking with the best genetics possible, and anybody can get them into the top to a certain level, like a Phil Heath, a Ronnie Coleman. Like anybody could have, not anybody that knows or based the you know what to do could have got them to that level. They, you know, people coach hop every day. You know, what's the guy we've talked about before that hires not Regan but the other guy, James Hollingshead. He gave an excuse that he hires coaches every 6 months because he didn't have a father growing up, and he thinks he's looking up to father figures, and that's why he hires so many coaches. I can see maybe the mentality behind that, and a lot of people's looking for different things in a coach. A lot of people's looking for a friend or someone to talk to on a regular basis, or you know, more than coaching, or they don't follow the program, or they just want somebody to, you know, just to be there. And that's totally fine if you're doing lifestyle coaching and if you're not competing. That's why it's become hard. I don't know about you, Keith, but over the years, it's become harder and harder to prep people because first off, they can't get the gear. And they ask me, hey, where do you get the gear from? I'm like, bro, I don't know. I could tell you a place that is giving like someone good gear now, but in a couple months, they could be selling fake gear like everybody does. They get a good product out first, then they start watering it down like every, you know, steroid dealer out there does. So I'm not gonna put my name on something, and then you come back to me like, man, that stuff wasn't good and this and that. That's why I'm not being a gatekeeper. I don't know. We don't know where to get the best stuff from. You got to make your own connections out there these days, guys. Absolutely. And you've got to really test your stuff. And people don't want to spend the money. There's two different ones. You got Roy Test that tells if the product is what it is, and then you got Genoshick where you send off a little perfume bottle or whatever, and they will test. It's like $150. They'll test the exact compound. They'll tell you how much milligrams in it, if there's heavy metals in it, what carrier oils in it. People won't spend that money, but they'll keep buying the cheapest gear out there. I'm like, how much paying a bottle for gear? $30. I'm like, so this person has good gear for $75, $85 a gear, but you keep buying the cheap gear because I don't understand the mentality about that. It's just crazy. People's thinking, King, and they hold themselves back. And there's so many people that could be really good bodybuilders, but they just can't listen to somebody, or they can't trust someone like me or you because they've been burned by so many different people just looking for a paycheck. We do this because we love it. We're not doing this because we're money hungry or we're trying to charge people $4,000 or $5,000. You know how many people pay coaches $4,000 for a prep session?
Trust me, I know. Remember, I had that bikini pro that he was training at my gym for a while. I'm not going to mention her name. She's a sweetheart. She just has issues, but she's a sweetheart. And when I saw her program, that's when I looked at it for about 5 minutes. I looked at it again. I just, okay. Then I sent it to Palumbo, and he immediately called me. He goes, what the fuck is this? I'm like, please tell me this is not what's trending right now. He goes, yeah. He goes, it's obnoxious. It doesn't make any sense. And it's so full of nonsense, but that's what these people are paying for. And then when I told him what she paid for it, he freaking just freaked out. He goes, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, no, man. That's how she paid X $1,000 for it.
Yeah. And I have people come back to me like, hey, man, I want to hire an old school guy. You've been doing it a long time because I've hired these other people. I was like, it's not old school. We're just doing it the right way.
It's called logic.
You go to these new people, they try to reinvent the wheel, or I don't know if you know that guy, Mike Israetel, Renaissance Training Period. He has people do the dumbest stuff ever, and he has the worst physique ever. He made this statement. I don't know if you heard. He said he looked better than Mike Mincer. I'm like,
yeah, I saw that. And is that the guy that Dorian Yates ripped to shreds?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But he has millions of followers on YouTube just because he tries to sound smart. And I remember back in the day when I was coming up and I was training people and prepping people, I didn't use all this, lingo. I dumbed it down for everybody so they understood what I was talking about. Now someone wants to hear, like, oh, they go on ChatGPT, print out this stuff, and they tell people this, oh, this person's so scientific. They break it down like this and like that. They're so smart. Then you get on stage and you don't do well because they don't know what they're doing. And I always tell people, prepping people is not like something you can just like learn. It's a gift like you have. King, how many top pros do you know that prep people and they're awful at it, like literally terrible at it?
Those who I contact and I say to them, I ask them, I'm like, how come you're not coaching people? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know how many times I've heard that?
Yeah. Ronnie would do it all.
Ronnie, female
Yeah.
competitors too. They're friends of mine. Why aren't you doing this? You could be cleaning house. You're hot. You can get guys, you can get girls. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I was like, oh my God.
But a lot of them do that. Like a lot of, like Branch and other people, guys, if you go to, I'm not knocking those certain people, but if you go to someone's profile and they put you through this little, like, sign up for $300 a month and pay this, and you're getting shot these programs. Listen, if you can't text your coach and say, hey, what's going on with this? And they're not texting you back. Oh, only email me on this day. And you want, no. We keep me and you, we keep in contact with our clients on a regular basis. We don't only care what they're doing in competition. We care about their health. We care about, we care about them as a person because we love helping people. Nothing feels more gratifying than helping somebody, improve their life, improve their health, place a show, build their confidence, like change their life. Even if those people burn you in the end, you still know, like.
And it's funny. I had one this week who signed up with me. She's a bikini competitor out of Toronto, a Persian girl.
Yeah.
Stunning. Her husband called me up and he was so psyched. I've wanted her to work with you for so long. I was like, man, this is a first. He's like, yeah, bro, I tried. And she was just like, he's in the United States. I'm in Canada. And he's like, no. So it took her. So I've been talking to her. She was a little apprehensive at first. Yeah. Right now, she is so psyched up because she was with a coach for a little bit. And apparently their looks, because every day I text her, she starts officially December 1st. We haven't officially started yet. But I said, in the meantime, since I know you're in, I want this, I want that. I contact her just with little text messages like, eat your food. And she sends me 10,000 hearts back. I wish I had you all the time. I can't believe I've been looking for you. Just by me saying, eat your food. Or I'll text her and I'll be like, stop fucking around and go drink some water. I know you're dehydrated right now. That's how I communicate with my clients. I make it fun and all that. But you look at on the other side of the coin, people will go pay exactly what you said. Thousands for someone who's going to cookie cut, which I don't want to jump off the subject. How many people have contacted you and said, I can triple your clients with this app? What that app is going to do is going to just cookie cut and you'll never talk to me. And you know how many people do that? How many people do that? They get the stupid app. That's not how it works, people.
Trainerize. They got everybody this one app and then they just send out like normal protocols. And I've had, especially with going back to female clients, King, that, they said, hey, man, the girls would be like, hey, my boyfriend or husband, they're really thankful that you just haven't tried to send me anything inappropriate or sleep with me. I'm like, that's crazy how many people have become coaches over the years because they're not real coaches. We've been doing this so long. Coaching wasn't a thing when we first started doing it. You didn't have everybody on every corner that was a coach. Now you got these people that are coaching people for free or this girl and that girl because they get in their pants and all that. I mean, that's pathetic. Guys, if you gotta like prep a girl and do all that stuff to get in their pants, like you're a come on.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, that's one of the stereotypes when it comes to trainers. That's what they get in for. And guess what? It happens. You know, a lot of people will get really close with their clients and all that stuff. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about how to get big today. So we've discussed it. Okay, so food we discussed, all that stuff. What is if I asked you, if somebody came up to you right now and said, Armon, I want to get as big as I can in the next three months. I got 12 weeks to get me huge. What's the first thing you would say to them?
You know, you gotta get your food in. You gotta get your rest in. Food matters. You can't be like, hey, how did you do on your food this week? You know, you've got to ask people now because they're like, well, I skipped 2 meals and a meal, and then I had to work overtime. I'm like, okay, I used to work 3 jobs. I brought my food everywhere I went. Even when I went out clubbing, I brought my food. Why? There's no reason to miss meals. Why are you missing meals? You got, let's say, a month, and in that month you miss a meal here, meal here. In that time period, you missed 30 meals. That adds up to muscle loss.
Yep.
Food.
Yep. Same with me. So we both agree on that one. Number 1 is food. Number 2, you got to train heavy and intense. The intensity. That's where Mike Mentzer and Dorian Yates, you don't necessarily have to go like Dorian, maximum overdrive weight, where you need a training partner in the front, training partner in the back, just to move for, one set of brutality. No, I'm not. That's
dangerous.
But you have to train intense. That's why one of the first things that I tell my clients when they first sign up is, you better be making some noise in the gym. Right. Okay, that's not a church. You go to the gym, you make noise, you grunt, you do stuff. You can drop weights, but don't slam them. Yeah. You know, these are the things that I'm like, listen, this is what you need to do. If you're training at Planet Fitness, I can't help you, man. You got to go someplace else. I'd rather you train at the YMCA than Planet Fitness.
I had my client the other day, Jay. He's a great client of mine. We got to show up and come for 4 weeks. Looks great. He could be a really good bodybuilder. And he came and worked out with me a couple times before I got sick. And he was just like, I'm like, we did like my workout, like a little pump workout, and we were just kind of talking. And I just wanted the times to train him just to kind of get his mind right, because he wasn't in a good place. And I asked him, I'm like, listen, when you train, do you always train like how we do, that easy? He's like, yeah. I'm like, man, we could make your physique so much better. So next season, you got to come see me, and I'm just going to train you like certain sessions, because people aren't going balls to the wall. People aren't stripping off sets, putting them back on, drop setting, try setting, giant setting. People aren't doing this intense training we're talking about. They're just going through the motions, or they'll set up their camera 5 different times with their phone to squat 5 plates on Instagram. But the rest of the squats, they're not even doing anything. They're just sitting around talking with everybody. One of my good buddies around here, Steve Kuklo, I actually see him train, and I'm like, he does a set and he'll sit around for 4 or 5 minutes before he does his next set. Intensity.
Armon, I was in Dubai 2 weeks ago, and I went to Binu's gym, and I stood on the second level. You can stand up at the second level and look down. And I was looking down for about 15 minutes at everybody in there. And it was exactly what you just said. People just doing a set and spending more time flexing in the mirror, looking at themselves, or talking to people than training. And nobody was making, I'm just looking, and although there was 3 or 4 guys in there that you could tell that were super jacked up and stuff. Right. All they do is walk back and forth, shitty little sets. I mean, what happened to that? I used to put 45-pound plates on every stack and go nuts. And whoever trained with me started looking freaky themselves because I pushed them. What happened to that, man?
Yeah, as soon as social media killed it, King. Social media killed it. We both know that. And we're not talking about, you don't have to be the strongest in the gym. You don't have to go load up plates and all this massive weight. When you train intense, we're talking about you're in there and you're busting your ass, even if you're not that strong, because not all bodybuilders are. Phil Heath was never a super strong bodybuilder. We saw him train. He wouldn't lift all these crazy weights, but he trained with intensity. He would bust his ass. And a lot of people, it doesn't happen anymore. We don't see it. And I'm like, man, if they just did that, the density of their physiques, the chest, the fullness like Derek has, all that just roundness, but no striations. People are missing all those lines because, first of all, they're not training hard. Second of all, they're getting big way too fast with all the insulin, the growth. So it's not pure quality muscle. Then when they retire or get off, all that, they shrink up. That's why you're so big still, because you're not trying to be. All those years you pounded, that's quality muscle. Me, before I got sick, the same way. I still carry around a lot of muscle
right now, Armon. When I do chest, I go and I grab this 70-pound dumbbells and I do incline presses for 20. Okay, and I just use a nice slow medium pace. When I go to the Smith machine, I do 185 for 20. That is what I'm doing right now to keep the maintenance and all that stuff, because I don't have to go like that anymore. I'm doing more pump and squeezing and stuff like that. Once in a while, I'll go in there and I'll stack something. I'm like, okay, I can still do it. It's still there. Yeah. But then I'll feel a little twinge. I'm like, no, I'm not going there. Not going to do that. But the intensity is still there. Last night I was doing triceps, and I remember these kids, they must have been in high school. The guy was like, and I hate this, by the way, when they call me sir, I hate that, but it is what it is now. So they're like, I don't like sir, that's incredible, sir. I'm like, all right, thank you. I appreciate it. Don't call me sir.
What else, King? What else? I think we covered everything.
Yeah, food. I think everybody right now is
simple things.
You know what everybody's waiting for us to do right now? They're waiting for us to say the gear. That's what they want. They want to know. They want to hear what to do with. Listen, first of all, if we do that, and we've talked about this so many times before, there's no secret, guys. There's no magic formula that we know that that you guys don't know. It's the same exact protocols, but what it comes down to is discipline, food, and intensity and consistency. That's what it comes down to. You got to be consistent. One of the main things that I've learned that I do with all my clients now is I tell them, every time you eat something, take a picture of it and send it to me. And guess what? 95% of them, they don't do it. You know why? Because they're not eating.
No, they're not.
They're not.
They
say they are, but they're not.
They'll do a protein shake instead and just pass it up. And let's be real. A lot of people, they're taking stuff. They're taking a lot of certain compounds that is counterproductive. Why take certain, like some people are taking, man, I'm taking Tren. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I'm like, don't take it. Now you can sleep. You can recover. You think you have to take all these certain drugs. Or like, man, my friend's taking Superdrol and this and this. I'm like, you know how toxic Superdrol is on your body? And you've been taking it for how many weeks? Pull that out.
Yep.
When your body's toxic, like my good friend, my late friend Chris Jalali, he used to take so much stuff and his body wasn't responding. Why? Because he was in liver failure and his kidneys had pickled with tumors all over it, and he could take whatever, but his body couldn't recover and respond to the drugs because he was sick. And there's so many bodybuilders out there now, they're sick and their bodies aren't responding because they need to take time off, or they've got bad coaches in the ear saying, no, we need to keep going. Or the coaches know if they don't tell them that, they'll go hire someone else. I don't care. You're not going to be under my watch and pass away. We've never had someone under our watch, King, in the 20 years we've been prepping people that's passed away.
Actually, the exact opposite. 99.9% of my clients, they enjoy competitions. They're having fun. They can breathe. Afterwards, they don't rebound. I always tell them, I say, listen, yeah, we're done. We did our 4 months, but you got to sign on for another month. Why? Because of the rebound. You have to. It's not just me trying to get your money. I'm telling you, you have to. Yeah. You got to understand. It's the 1 month after you finish your show. It's crucial. You got to stay. And here's the thing. Here's another one. It's not like people don't listen. I understand, and Armon understands. Right now, everybody in this country, more than 75 million people voted for Trump because they thought that we're going to get this incredible economy. So people are fucked right now. I went to Costco yesterday.
Ooh, yeah.
When I went into the meat section, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. $89. Something that used to be $45, it's now $89. Something that used to be $30, now it's $75. It's insane. We understand. But the sacrifice that you're making is your body. It's the same thing like having a Bugatti. If you have a Bugatti, you're not going to go to Jiffy Lube and get an oil change. That's not. You got to go to Bugatti to get the oil change. It's the same concept. When you go to someone, when you hire a coach, there you know they're going to keep. If they're a good coach, they're going to keep you on that schedule and on that path. It's the path that counts. Sometimes I tell my clients, I'm sure you do too, take 3 days off.
Yeah.
I don't want any, no chicken breast, no broccoli. Go eat steak. Go to Chris. Go to Chili's. Whatever you have to. 3 days. Do not stay away from the gym. Stay away from cardio. Just relax. And guess what? Within 3 days, they come back to life. They're energized. They want to go back to the gym again and all that stuff. Just listen. You got to find yourself that right coach and that right formula.
And one last thing before we go, unless you have something else, Keith. Well, the clients that do the best and make the most progress are the ones that stay with you year round, off season, pre-contest, off season, pre-contest. So you got them, like I'll have clients for 5 years and I'm like, man, look what you used to look like. Look at every year what you look like because, and I'll show other people, they look like this because they don't disappear. Then they come back, oh, I need to prep for a show again. I'm saying, listen, you're going to look the same way you did your last show because in the off season, you did nothing. You lived a normal life. You weren't eating. You weren't training hard. You're going to look the same. So if you hire King or I, stay with us year round. It's not because we want your money. It's because we're telling you, you've got bodybuilding it's not an off season like, basketball players, football players has. It's a 24/7 lifestyle and it's hard. And I think so many people are competing that shouldn't be because they want to do social media stuff for this and that because you've got to love. I've always asked people like, why do you want to compete? And if you don't love bodybuilding, you're never going to be a good bodybuilder. You've got to love bodybuilding. You got to love the suffering. You got to love like, oh man, I feel so terrible. And I feel terrible because I'm looking so good. And people just don't have the love for the sport, King. They just want to put the next picture up.
Armon, I was 16 years old and I used to go, my curfew was 10 o'clock. I would sneakily stay up until 1:30 in the morning so I can watch American Muscle on ESPN. And I would be like quiet, watching 30 minutes of American Muscle. That's how fucking crazy I was for bodybuilding at 16 years old to stay up and risk getting in trouble to watch American Muscle. And people right now, people are like, what's American Muscle? ESPN, folks, had a show called American Muscle, and it was awesome. It was just jacked up and training and people, the lifestyle, like the California, Venice Beach. I mean, it was like a dream fantasy show. Now, what Armon just said, again, you got to love it. You got to absolutely love it. Now, before we go, a couple of questions, but I do want you, Armon, to supplements, your supplements. Promote your supplements, man. These kids got to get on the good stuff.
Yeah. So, man, what I've had my line, DB Arming for 10 years. We've got, the top sellers are the Dominate. And this is if you're natural. This is not if you're on testosterone already. Best testosterone booster out there. I always tell people, get your testosterone checked. Take this for a few months. Get it tested again. This will raise you 50 to some people's got it raised up as much as 400 extra points. It's not just BS out there. The ingredients, you can look up every single one, and it is what it is. You see some test boosters out there, and it's like, oh, it's bullshit, it's BS because it is. Ceromax, this is pure MK677. Okay, this is an HGH secretagogue. It's not a peptide. This is exactly the same as taking 1 to 2 IUs of GH a day. So if you guys can't find GH or you're getting fake GH, get on Ceromax. The only difference is you're going to hold a little more water and increases ghrelin. So you're going to be more hungry, which is great for a lot of people that has an appetite. The other line, the AMG labs that I've worked with and all that, I took every supplement out there, that every top supplement line out there. And I have an amazing manufacturer. And I'm like, I want to make my product better than this one. My manufacturer is like, well, you're going to be, I was like, I don't care if I only make $4 instead of $15. A lot of these guys out there, I've talked to a couple people before. They're like, well, I like this supplement company because this person signed with them. I'm like, not because they're better supplements, it's because they're signed with them. So, well, I'll start promoting them more and more and more. We just eventually got the AMG labs done with the site and all that. But I've made every supplement, whatever supplement you're taking out there, I've made it more superior, whether it's a GDA, a glucose disposing agent, which is a natural insulin. I've taken everyone out there, and I used to work with Dymatize and all their formulating. That's how I fell in love with it. And it wasn't until I found a great manufacturer about 10 years ago that could produce the stuff I wanted. And I love it. I love the science behind it all. I love making the best ingredients. And yes, there's a difference. If you go to Walmart and buy a big old bag of whey or creatine or whatever, you're shitting, you're fart. You shouldn't be farting all day, guys. Back in the day, we had all these shitty proteins. If you have good gut health, you shouldn't be farting all day or have gas. You should take a shit. That should be the end of it. So if you're taking stuff, your stomach's all messed up all the time. That's whatever you're taking is not good quality. And this guy, do you guys think being sore the next day meant your workout sucked? No, you don't have to be sore because your body gets used to the training. If you first get started, yeah, you're probably going to be sore if you start with one of us, if you haven't been training hard, but your body adapts and you can't go off the soreness. A lot of times, if you're sore every single day, you might be overtraining. So you can't go by the soreness. I do think the pump's important. A lot of people think pumps aren't important. I think it's important because it gauges, are you getting enough water again? Are you getting enough food in again when you train? So I don't know what's your thoughts on that?
If I'm training and I'm not getting a pump, I'll leave the gym.
Yeah.
I've done it many times. I'll do it to 3 or 4 exercises, and I'll be like, some sets. After the 3rd or 4th set, if I don't feel it, I'll go maybe do 45 minutes of cardio, or go stretch, or do some ab exercises, and I'm out because I'm not feeling it that day. And that tells me I did not eat enough and all the stuff that you just said.
Yeah. Next week, the Thanksgiving is Thursday, so we won't be doing a show then, obviously. Maybe we'll do one. If you
follow me on Instagram, I'll be posting pictures of my family parties on Thanksgiving.
You gotta, man. I'm envious, King, because I have a very small family, and I always see like families. I see all your pictures, like, man, that looks like a blast. Like it could go two ways. It could be a mess where everybody hates each other, or everybody gets along and it's a blast. Like I see all your stuff you post, and I'm like, man, that looks awesome. So, man.
Well, I mean, listen, I got an IFBB Pro bikini in my family. Everybody lifts weights. My brother-in-law is jacked up. He's a new Long Island juice head and all you name it. And there's a lot of politics and stuff, but we don't do that in Thanksgiving. For us, it's party, and they do a lot of shots and stuff. I don't drink, but they do a lot of shots and stuff. It's fun. And come on, Armon, let's say to these guys, pass the word. We got to get Iron OGs past all these gumpy shows out there. Come on, guys. You know what? I love Cutler. Cutler, Jay, you're out there. What's up? All that stuff. But your monotone voice makes me want to hang myself. Cito, I love you too, man. You and I are boys, but listening to you talk makes me want to drink razor blades and kill myself. Call me. You guys got to tell the word. You got to let them know. We are the OGs. We don't lie. We don't bullshit. We bring it all out there, and we answer all your questions. As a matter of fact, one of the shows that are coming up, let's do all just questions. Send us all your freaking questions, and we'll answer them.
I get so many on Instagram, and I'll read it all from Instagram too. And I listen to some of these podcasts, like a lot of like Canadian, Fwad's podcast, bro. That is the most boring thing ever. And I'm like, how do people sit through this? I'm like, we're out here giving. I mean, it is what it is. People, I get it. People fall in love with certain podcasts, and I'm not bashing the podcast, wherever you like to watch, but we're out here, and people just don't know. It takes a while. Like a lot of podcasts I've seen, it took them like 3 years to people to start getting the algorithm and getting it shot out there and people seeing it. So we're here, guys. We're not going anywhere. We love you guys. Have an amazing Thanksgiving, King. We might do something at the beginning of next week. If not, the following week, I had that gum surgery. I pushed it back. So we'll figure something out, but we'll see you guys soon. Peace. Have a good Thanksgiving, King.
Take care, brother.
Yep. Bye.